two, one.
Hello and welcome to the Good, Bad, or Bullshit podcast. Here we discuss random topics, semi-random topics now. We have an unrehearsed conversation about that topic, and then we provide to you, the listener, a quality review, that of good, bad, or bullshit, hence the name. My name is Mike Hodgins. I am one of your three hosts on this show, along with Mr. Bo Schwartz. Hello, Bo.
Hi, Michael. Thank you for that wonderful introduction.
You're welcome.
I
And
quite
Crofton
liked it.
Steer. Oh, thank you. And Crofton Steers also. Hello, Crofton. Crofton holding up a photo of his daughter, showing that he's a superior parent to me because I forgot to order my child's student pictures this
But
year.
Also, he probably shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, because now it's on the
And
internet.
now he's
forever.
also muted.
Yeah, that's par for the course.
It was a total grand slam. Yeah, student pictures. It was my daughter's photos at school. We just got them today. I wanted to show them in particular because I knew of Mike's failure as a father and wanted to be sure that all the listeners were also aware. He did not order the photos. Oh, what a fool.
Well, look, I didn't need to because I got this class picture, which my son is also in. See, there he is, right there.
They give you that anyway?
Oh, yeah, he's still in the class, Crofton. Come on.
No, but
Not a
I thought
social
you'd have to-
pariah.
I thought you'd have to pay for the photo.
No, everyone gets the class
really?
picture, even the poor kids.
Michael.
Well, because that's arguably what I didn't order a picture. They're probably like, "Oh, his parents are got no money."
That's an
they can't even
extremely
buy."
elitist thing to say.
Was a
think.
joke, obviously, about the fact-
Don't worry, little Ivan. You get the group shot.
We'll just cut your face out of the group picture and put it in a frame, son. We promise to buy your
You can
pictures
zoom it
next
on
year.
Photoshop. Or wait, you'd have to use free Photoshop since you're poor.
It's true.
Did Ivan? Did he raise any sort of concerns about not getting photos?
No, he does not give a shit.
Okay.
And his
No,
photos
'cause-
are kind of weird
'cause
this time. We
Gwen
came
will-
home with them. They looked weird, the samples. I was like, what's up? He doesn't look like himself. And he said, I was trying to smile because he's really big on a fake smile. He does like
Yeah,
a
kids,
super
yeah.
teethy fake smile, which I think is cute. But I guess the photographer told him not to do that. So then he had this really weird, look like a deer in a headlight kind of expression. It was not good. And I was like, man,
Well, the
screw
next
that
time
photographer.
there's photos, send a note with him that he can
Saying,
give to the photographer.
stop
Say,
trying to
let
crush
him-
the souls
let
of
him
young
s-
children. Let
just
them smile.
write.
They
No,
love
it should write. Just not okay. You're getting carried away. It should say, "Let my child smile however he wishes to. Thanks." And
Yeah.
if he doesn't, you'll be hearing from my lawyer or something.
My lord.
Do you
That'll
think
be
you're in the
a
States?
good use of funds to retain the services of a lawyer.
But it's, in all seriousness, you can write a note politely requesting that they don't try to teach your child how to smile.
I think it's pretty much an assembly line. I don't think the photographer is like reading everyone's. They're just like,
'Cause-
come on, kid, let's work it through. I got 300 of these today.
Yeah, but it's your child. I don't know why we're empathizing with some poor photographer trying to earn a living taking pictures of kids.
Heary, heary, it is time for the people as court, and it is Michael Hodgins, the case of Michael Hodgins and the Hodgins family versus Kitty Photography. Representing Kitty Photography is the photographer, Crofton Steers. And I would come in and be like, what's your problem, man? I take tons of photos of kids. Your kid is just like one of many. It's assembly line, sausage factory here. You would tell me right off, and then they would throw out the ridiculous case.
Wait, are you on
Yeah,
the side
well.
of big photography?
Yeah, always.
He's against the
Traitor!
little guy.
Trader, you need to be standing up for parents, not for the corporate man.
Yeah, I got a side gig. What can I say?
I figure like every second year, if I get the photos, it'll sort of capture his youth, I'm not too worried about it.
I mean, you
It
can
is
get your,
sort of captures you.
you can get your own photos done too.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, what's a big deal? I take photos all the time of him.
I just like next year when he forgets, Mike will be like, every 3 years, like how much does a kid grow really? And then the next year it's like, they only give you passport photos every 5 years.
It's true. I don't have
Yeah,
a lot of
it's
photos
true.
of me, although there's a lot of video of me out there, and a few memes. Um, yeah. So sorry, I made this about me. Anyways, it was nice seeing pictures of your kids. How are you guys doing? What's going on? What's news? It's been 2 weeks. What's the
scuttlebutt?
The scuttlebutt? What's the chat? What's the chant around the campfire?
Things are good, I guess. Like, whatever.
For our American listeners and international listeners, it's full-on winter arrived for a very short period of time here in Canada. There's been snow and cold, and I think to me it's a little early. I could use like 3 more weeks, like end of December. That's when I like the snow to finally hit. So I've been I got sick. I think that I don't know if that happened between the last episode or not, but I definitely got sick and I'm cold. And oh yeah, I guess we didn't talk about it on the show, but some guy last weekend kicked in the front door of the downstairs neighbor's house. Like that happened.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently he heard from another neighbor too. So there was a car broken into a little farther down the road. So that was
It's just like drunken students. Like that's what I bet it was.
I don't know. I think I've seen. So I'm up pretty late video games. I went out to my porch. Had a
Really?
smoke. Oops. And I went out on my porch this one night, and there was a guy in the hood who walked up to a car, and he's like, trying to open the back door. And he kind of looked up at me, and I'm like, that fucking guy's trying to break in. But then he stopped immediately and just kept like zoomed off as fast as I could see it. I'm like,
Good for you. You're the neighborhood watch, Bo.
I'm like, yeah.
Who knew staying up
You know
all
what's
hours
funny?
playing video games would pay off?
Also, the usefulness of having smokers around, and now that we've made sure they can't smoke in the house, they have to go outside. I've mentioned him before, Douglas, former student, a neighbor of mine, lived in the basement next door. He was like a chain.
neighbor.
He went.
I
Well,
like if he was on CNN being interviewed and be like, student neighbor.
Well, I
think
think
he's-
literally a university student who lives next door. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, he's
And
I
a
think
student
that
neighbor.
we previously referred to him as pot smoking Douglas or something like
Douglas?
that.
Whoa,
really
we're outing him on
enjoy-
international radio.
No, we already have. Mike gave me all sorts of crap
Don't-
for it.
Hey, look, if Douglas was here, he'd be like, "Yeah, I love some pot."
That's true.
He worked in the
He'd
pot
be okay with it.
industry.
I've
and
talked-
It's legal in
Yeah, okay.
Canada.
All right.
Douglas is a cool dude.
Shout
Anyway,
out Douglas.
but
'Cause of the
he was
pot.
he was out smoking all the time and literally operated like, and he was up all night playing video games too. But he would go out smoking every 20 minutes, and he was like neighborhood watch. There was like, because there was a guy breaking into cars around here, and Douglas was like, he's like, I seen that guy, and I told him to f off one time, and I was like, oh yeah, good old Douglas.
I don't know how he smokes weed and play video games. I tried to do that a few weeks ago, and I
He's
can't.
been practicing since he's 13, so
you
got.
need practice because I can't do it. I got high, like, because it's legal here in Canada, in case anyone's wondering. And for my birthday, my mom
Yeah, FBI.
my mom got me weed. So it's my mother that gave it to me. So this is very above board.
Awesome.
And so I was like, oh, let me smoke some. And then I sat down to play some Diablo, and I couldn't do it. Like I just couldn't,
Yeah, well,
I
you
couldn't
know, and
take
you
it.
gotta-
I was like moving, and I'm like, this hurts my chest. And I'm like, I don't know why. I was just like, this is so hard. So I'm like, fuck video games, and I'm just like, I can't do that. So I'm like, when you say Douglas is like, because he likes League of Legends, and I'm like, that's a competitive game, like a second-to-second Twitch competitive game, and I'm like, how are you getting high and playing that game? You must suck at the
He's
game.
also drinking like 5 Red Bulls,
Oh my
and
God.
who knows
Got to
what
balance those downers with uppers. Also, I like that both those games have lots of lights and colors.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
I just
oh, yeah.
imagine Bo sitting down. Like I've tried to play fucking Diablo with you guys on a TV or whatever, where it's like I can't see shit of what's going on. Like things are exploding left and right. There's like Nova, triple Nova,
Yeah,
or
but
whatever.
the weed isn't like hallucinogenic or anything. It doesn't really do anything with the lights.
No, but it's still a lot of stimulus.
It affects concentration. Like I think concentration. Like it's just hard. Like
Makes you
what's going
sleepy.
on? Yeah, it's just really. It's like a cloud that you have to cut through in order to get back to normal. I'm like, oh, these two things don't mix. But it happens all the time on the internet where, like, when I'm playing Heroes, some of the like people will often make a mistake and play, and then you'll say, "Oh, sorry guys, I'm high." Like, that happens
off my
often,
team.
and I'm like, "How are you playing this game while high?" Like, I cannot do. I've tried it. I cannot do it.
It's just practice. That's all. I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, which I've just started listening to, along with 100 million other people. And someone asked him, because he smokes a lot of weed, that Joe Rogan was like, how do you have conversations with people smoking weed? And he's like, and Joe Rogan was like, tons of practice, man. He's like, I'm a fucking stoner. He's like, I'll do it right now. He's like, where? I got some weed here. And he's just like, and I was like, because it's like he's been doing it so long. So
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. I'm a little too
like,
scared to become like a practice stoner. I'm like a once a month kind of guy.
Yeah, I feel like that's more reason. Hey, I just thought of something that did happen to me last week, which is sort of funny. So I might have mentioned it before, but I have, I guess, like kind of a liver problem. So I had a liver biopsy.
Oh,
sounds hilarious.
It's not, well, the funny
Can
part.
I ask you a question about your liver before you get into it?
Sure.
Has it ever hurt you? Has it ever caused any pain or discomfort? Okay.
No. It's just like you get a blood test and your doctor's like, man,
so I still have a discomfort in my left side. I'm wondering if it isn't my liver.
Probably gas.
We're not WebMD.
Yeah, it's like
I'm banned from WebMD. That's how I got my anxiety
no,
attack. Literally from WebMD.
If you have it, just go see your doctor if you have an issue. That's what you do.
Yeah, I know.
But what was funny, so this hadn't happened to me before. I've been in the hospital a few times for random stuff, and I think as I'm getting,
they have a wing named after the Hodgins family.
Yeah, well, for like, broken bones.
Disease.
Though that's my dad has been in for lots of injuries. But anyways, so I was gonna say, so I get in there and it's like a little bit of a procedure. They put like an IV in you and you have to go in like an operating room kind of thing, even though they're just sticking like a giant needle in your guts. It doesn't feel very nice, I'll tell you. But they put the IV in, and then I was all psyched up in my head because I had this done like 16 years ago and it was not a pleasant experience. I was getting all nervous, They put the IV in, in your arm, and you're waiting there, and then all of a sudden I start to feel really like nauseous, and I was like, oh man, I was like, I don't feel good. And then I like put my hand down. I put my head down on this desk that was in front of me. And the nurse is like, are you okay? And I'm like, oh, I don't feel good. And then I was out. And I woke up like minutes later in a bed. And that never happened to me before. I just full on fainted. And I was like, wow, look at that. It was.
So what happened leading up to it? Sorry, I missed it.
I think I literally
Did
was
they give
just
you anesthesia, or was it just pure vanilla fainting?
Just fainting because the IV was not connected to anything. It's just literally they just set it up. They put the needle in my arm so that they could connect like saline or whatever to it during the procedure, or whatever they want to, or whatever. If something goes wrong, they need to give you an IV. Okay. And then I literally just fainted from the needle. And then, but the one interesting thing was that like I felt like shit right before. Like I was like really nervous, getting all in my head. And then felt like I was gonna puke.
You were anxious. So the biopsy means they put the needle in to take a sample out, right, from your liver?
Yes. Now that hadn't happened yet. I was just in the waiting room, basically.
Yeah. But the idea of a needle going in that deep to touch your liver is kind of freaky.
It is freaky. Well, the whole thing is not fun. And then, but then I woke up and with some nurse, like this guy was looking over me and he's like, "Oh, wake up!" And he's kind of patting me on the chest, and I'm like, I kind of wake up and I have this moment where, and I felt great after I woke up. I felt like so relaxed, so calm.
You were having an anxiety attack.
Yeah, probably.
That's how I felt after my anxiety attack.
Let me finish the story already, for God's sake. And then I felt super great, super relaxed, like $1 million. And I was like, is it over? And I go, oh, no, we haven't even started yet. Like, oh, God damn. I went through all this like anxiety and stuff.
The anxiety didn't come all spilling back down?
No, actually, like it went pretty good. But then I almost passed out again while they're doing it, because it's like, then they go and they stick these needles in you and they inject in the freezing, right? Okay, which kind of burns. And then after that, you don't feel too much. But the thing is, you can still, it doesn't feel pain, but you can feel stuff moving around. And I'm like, I felt like I could feel that goddamn needle going in my liver. Like, it didn't hurt, but you're like, oh, this is not
I know.
right.
I've been frozen before. Like, I've had even teeth frozen where they're pulling out the teeth, and it's like you're not feeling the pain anymore, but you're like, that shit doesn't feel right,
Not nice, no.
But, yeah,
but don't they have to pierce your muscle wall to get at your liver?
Yeah, and it's like you can feel stuff going. You could feel the thing going in you, and
there isn't like a nice little hole where they can just get to your liver without actually having to cut your muscle.
No, but I mean, honestly, like the market left is just like a tiny little. It's like nothing basically, but
I know, but you feel it. I guess it's more like it's not nothing to have something penetrating, not just your skin but your muscle wall.
No, right?
I'm curious. What does it feel like?
Bad and into an internal organ. Like, that's the thing. It's like you feel it like deep, and the guy's like, And then at one point, and then it like this the thing that takes the chunk of your liver out just goes like ka-chonk, like it makes this big noise.
Oh.
And then the guy was like,
wow.
good, and he's like, good news, we're half over. And I was like, half, because they were taking 2 samples. I was like, God damn it!
Did you have the option to go under and chose not to?
No, and that's a whole They said they could have gave me some like doping me out drug, like to make me like half, and then I was like, I knew that was an option, but this other doctor was like, no, we don't do that for this, and I was like, okay, and then at that point I was like, all right, let's just do this, and then but yeah, I almost passed out again.
So they
like,
they take that out in order to see what's in your liver, right?
Yeah, so then they'll like put it in a microscope or whatever and be like, oh, you've got this XYZ disease. So hopefully it's nothing.
I was on WebMD a few days ago looking up liver symptoms.
No, don't do that, man. You're gonna be like, it's cancer. You just go to your doctor.
He was doing it for you.
The thing that I was freaking out about was that because I was sick 2 weekends ago, so I took a lot of Buckley's and has a lot of acetophenamine, which is really bad for your liver. And I was like, maybe I take too much like Tylenol overall. My liver hates it. That shit's really bad for your liver.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff bad for your liver, but I would also say,
your
generally
maximum
speaking,
dose is like 10 Tylenol in a day.
Yeah, don't take more than that.
It's so easy to pop 2 or 3, and you're like, you're already like almost 50% there on your daily dose.
Yeah, but that's why you gotta like read the instructions and don't do it. But I mean, even that, like my brother-in-law's a doctor, and he said that there's still a fair amount of like sort of insurance built into that. Like if you take twice the dose, you're probably not gonna die. But like, okay. Don't do it. It says
good. There's an idiot buffer. Okay, good.
There is an idiot buffer, but that's not.
And I'm probably fine. But the thing is, with the Buckley's, because I didn't really. You're supposed to put in a spoon and have 2 tablespoons, and then no more than, I think it says 4 to 6 tablespoons a day. But I was kind of just slurping it from the bottle, and I was worried I had a little too much.
If something's over the counter, like you're gonna have to do a lot of it to really mess yourself up. Like,
well, I mean, like probably not die, but my liver probably just has, like it's like 10% shittier now or something like
whatever.
That.
I mean, you don't hardly drink any alcohol. That's the worst. A lot of people, that's bad stuff for you. Your dad's liver is way worse than yours. Put it that way.
Sweet, take that, Dad.
All
right.
All right, let's get
Thanks for sharing that story. Sorry I interrupted so much, but
whatever.
I'm really interested in liver stuff because I have generalized discomfort in the area where the liver is. So.
Yeah, but there's a lot of stuff in that whole area. Your intestines, your stomach.
I know. It could be anything.
Everything's down there.
It could just be like back problems manifesting.
It could be a bad piece of sausage you ate. That's what it could be.
I just imagine that we started with like 100 listeners, and then as it went on and just got increasingly painful. And then Bo's like, and then they pierce the muscle wall, and you just see the numbers just go down, 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 and then
that's not that graphic.
And then at the end, we're just left with Monica. Hi, Monica.
Thanks for sticking it out.
She wants Monica, who's a moderator for our show and live for our listeners, and also just someone who's a general superstar in various podcasting communities.
True.
She wants me to talk about the satyrs, and that was core. It's not this show. We talked about satyr penises for a good 30 minutes because I brought it up.
Is that how you say it?
Won't do it here.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So in Greek
it's
times,
like like Pan,
like satyrs or satyrs were these half goat, half man with giant erections. And after in the Greek theater, you'd watch Sophocles, like Oedipus Rex or the Oresteia. They'd have a satyr play afterwards, a comedy, and it would be a bunch of dudes dressed up as these half goat men with giant dongs, and then they try to fuck women, but then the women would drag. It's comedy, just like that comedy trope that we have now. But 2,000 years ago, they had these massive dongs, and if you go to the Wikipedia page for satyrs, there's a whole bunch of penises, and there's even one where the satyr's like jacking himself off so hard. This is like on Wikipedia. It's hilarious, and it's like etched on a pot or something like that. Like it's incredible. Everyone should look at this.
The culture.
So I said I wasn't going to talk about it, and now I'm talking about it. But it's a satire play is also etymology for what we know as satire. So satire plays often lampooned and made fun of the people of the day, the politicians and things of that. So satire plays is an important part of our current, in history, informs a lot of what we enjoy today and how it's not that different. Crofton, I can tell the color of his face changed, so he's got a white window open on his computer, and he's looking for this. He's looking at Wikipedia for sure.
I just like so because I knew a lot about those mischievous scamps from like either Shakespeare's plays or the Hercules cartoon when I was a kid or
Sure.
whatever.
I don't remember the erections in the Hercules cartoon. Though.
But like I don't remember anything about the penises. But Bo
we
is not.
didn't leave in Greek times. Yeah.
Yeah, Bo is not wrong.
There's
He's
at least
right about
eight.
the
There's
penises.
at least 8 erect penises, and even in the opening line, satyrs known for being half men, half goats with giant erections. Permanent. The word was permanent erections. They're permanent. They're not even like temporary.
It's unfortunate.
Permanent erection. That would not be comfortable.
Yeah.
No, it would
Anyways,
not be.
Speaking of permanent erections, I think it's time to select a random topic.
Yes, indeed.
So, as you guys recall, the system now is that one of us chooses one and the other two are unaware of what that is, but it is brought to us by a bird from the heavens.
Oh, that's right. Shit.
Heavenly bird. Maybe it should be
the
brought on
bird
the giant
isn't
penis of a
ready.
satyr. A satyr.
What? But so because this is a satire, a satyr or satire,
I don't know how to say it.
because this is an audio show, Michael. What sounds?
It's hard to make a sound of a satyr's
Well,
penis.
I mean,
Green
is it
to Crofton?
does it clank along the bark of the
Nah, it's
trees
like
as it runs through the woods?
I guess maybe we should
like a
use
bike,
the-
like a bike spoke. You know, you put a playing card in the bike spokes and
Dung,
it
dung,
clacks.
dung, 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 dung,
Is
or,
that's their dong as they
No,
run through the
it
trees.
would
It's
definitely
like-
there would be before going straight to the dong. There would be like the hoof sounds, right? Because they have
oh, that too. Yeah, yeah.
So it's
you
like
know,
a
like-
goat's hoof and then like a fleshy thump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. A fleshy thump. Thank you, Michael. There's the 100 listeners is now at.
No.
Yeah.
If
All right.
anything, it's gone back up. We finally given the internet what it wants.
Yeah,
All right,
they're
here
like,
comes the
"Oh,
bird. The bird's coming. The
goat
bird's coming. There it
penis."
is. Finally. All right. Now, before you announce the topic 2, remind me we have a listener mail today. But anyways, go ahead.
I will remind you of the listener mail, and by that I mean I will forget to remind you. Let me see what my topic is. Aha! The topic today is Amazon.
Like
The
an Amazon
jungle or
forest?
the internet? Platform?
Very good clarification question. And definitely not the jungle. I am talking about one of the largest companies in the world
Mm,
that owned by or primarily funded by Jeff Bezos.
super villain Jeff Bezos.
Bezos. And
He sort of looks
Amazon.
like a super villain with his shaved head and
He
half
looks like
lazy
Lex
eye. He's like,
Luthor,
"Whoa,
yeah.
ha, ha."
So and the
He's trying to
you
build
know,
a space rocket too. Like,
specializes in I guess the main thing that they started with or are known for is delivery, door-to-door delivery of an assortment of items from the internet, and they've now expanded into multiple other markets. So Amazon is
Such
one of the
as
biggest companies.
World domination.
Yeah, like literally.
you know, it is
Um,
funny though, just as a casual observation, because you know we always say like Star Trek predicted iPods and iPads with the tricorders, and we're working towards that. But like, so too, comic books I think have literally predicted technology business leaders, like in the form of like Lex Luthor's, like
Yeah.
like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Zuckerberg. Like they're all like these misanthropes, misfits. That like, what are they doing in their spare time? Building rockets to outer space.
But keep in
like
mind
it's
that
just
this-
true.
like
This is not. They're no different. They're just like it's like Rockefeller, right? There was always the crazy rich person who could do crazy stuff. Like that was.
Sure.
That's not a new thing. We have new versions of them.
Well, I think the new thing is that they're misanthropic. Like even to me, what's that brand? Is it
But
Branson?
Howard Hughes was like all of
Yeah,
those
that was
guys
always
Yeah,
were
crazy.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
and they were celebrities and known for their craziness. No, you're right,
Okay.
but it is funny because seeing that trend, Bo, like because that these guys and all these guys makes Bill Gates look really well adjusted when you think.
Oh
about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's for sure the best billionaire.
Yeah,
Like it wouldn't shock me to find out Jeff Bezos, what we have on Earth is like a holographic representation, and he actually lives on a moon base that is shielded from our satellites in view, and no one knows about it. He's like, you won't
And-
find me in my
And
moon
ironically, He could still get delivery within 48 hours at
Well,
his
yeah,
main
exactly.
base, like
That's
it's
I mean,
like the Amazon shipping center.
yeah.
So the thing with Amazon is I think that everybody has kind of a love-hate relationship with it to a certain extent. They see, maybe horror stories about like working conditions in Amazon's warehouses. In my case, I saw my city jump through absolute hoops to become the next like Amazon North American
Oh yeah,
distribution center.
yeah,
A
yeah, yeah.
bunch of cities were in like competition where, we're gonna get the second Amazon headquarters. And you never like to see everyone sort of debase themselves for like I'm not saying they're all minimum wage jobs, but something of that nature. And one thing that Amazon, and this is like something that I was aware of, but I'm not sure everybody is they actually make a ton of money on what is it? Is cloud computing? Like much of cloud space is owned by Amazon and on
Hmm.
Amazon servers, and a lot of these other big companies that are providing cloud services are paying Amazon on the back. They have a huge back end internet server and cloud computing and all of that stuff market as well, where they make tons of money. So again, like they've got their arms in everything, TV streaming, all of that sort of stuff. Now, my wife and I have an Amazon Prime account. And we get the Amazon Prime shows, and we get the we now find ourselves ordering a lot of stuff on Amazon because we get it whatever the next day. We go out to a lot less stores, but the convenience factor is huge for us. Do you guys use Amazon?
Uh, mm, it's weird because I've used Twitch, which is now Amazon. I have before,
It is, yeah, and Twitch is owned
but
by Amazon.
I don't really get things mailed to my house, so I don't really. I don't know. No, I say no. No.
You don't really. I use it. I've used it, and I have very well put of the love-hate relationship with it. Where there are times where I'm like, God damn it, I'm not going to use Amazon to get this thing that I know I can get
Down
around
the
the
street.
corner or whatever, and I don't mind paying a couple of bucks extra for the local economy or whatever. But then sometimes I'm just like, I think of the thing I need or whatever it is, like at work, and I'm like, go on the website, there it is, whatever, click, arrives at my house the next day, which is always nuts to me. I mean, anytime I order, not even just through Amazon, but Amazon in particular, sometimes when you track the passages, the packages, and you're like, it's in like Virginia or some like sometimes it'll tell you, and then it's like still somehow at your house the next day. It's insane. I mean, there is the logistics stuff that they've put together is impressive, no doubt. So yeah, I have used it, and I would say probably will continue to use it sort of sparingly. I don't use it too much, but I sort of think that it's like I want to try not to use it.
It's hard. We were streaming on Twitch right now. We're streaming on an
well,
Amazon server.
yeah. I mean, if you're talking about the parent company. Oh yeah, they also bought
But
Whole Foods,
Amazon-
which is a grocery store near me. So I'm like,
Oh,
Amazon
do they?
Cloud-
They own Whole Foods.
yeah, they do.
Amazon Cloud Services is a thing too, where a lot of internet content is hosted on Amazon servers.
I literally
Yeah,
just said that.
You just said that like 5 seconds ago.
I missed that part.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, he did. So yeah, I mean, it's
so-
impossible to get fully away from, but it's like, I mean, I think of it as when you said they started, it seemed to me they started basically in books too. Like it was like mostly books at the start, and it's like grown, and they've added all this other stuff on. It's impressive to me what they have on there.
Now, one of the things that they do, and this is like other disrupting companies do this, is that they temporarily and I think of stuff like Uber and other companies that sort of disrupt established markets. They come in and they offer something at a too good to be true price where they're taking a loss potentially, with the idea of getting you hooked. And one of the big things was for Amazon was the video games in the video game market, and video game retailers. Already you can buy a lot of stuff digitally, but to get especially a hard copy of a game, it's becoming it's scarcer in terms of options. Even like GameStop and some of the big major manufacturers are feeling the pinch, and that pinch is mostly coming from Amazon. And what they did was they had this thing where you could get, I think it was like if you pre-ordered a game with Amazon, I think it was like 40% or something ridiculous off the main price of a new game. So it was like your new game was $80. If you pre-ordered it with Amazon, it was like 40% off. And people just could not believe, like, why would I buy it anywhere else? And like these main games, that everyone's going to buy, a Red Dead Redemption or whatever, of course they pre-order them, and everybody got into it. They were like, oh, it's too good to be true. Well, it was too good to be true. It's no longer the case. Amazon doesn't have that service anymore. But what it did allow them to do is condition everybody to buy through Amazon. And I think they did it previously with books. They've done it with other markets. They come in, they sell at a ridiculously low price. They get everybody used to buying that product through there, and then they bring the prices back up because they know that no company can meet that ridiculous low price that they're setting. And in Amazon's case, they do that thing when you buy something and it says you may also be interested in. So even though they're selling a game at massive discount, it's saying like you may also be interested in all these things, and you're like, oh yeah, I'll add this or I'll add that or whatever. And so in the end, they're getting you in the door and with this one thing, and then they're making money across the board. So
and don't forget that, like other tech companies, it's not just the thing you think you're getting, it's also the immense amount of data they're collecting on consumer trends, on individual buying habits, so that they know how to push our ads in more targeted ways so that they can sell ads better. Like, I mean, it's that whole, all social media has that component, and that's something they're also making money off. So it's not like just a store, it's also like tracking the data of purchases, which, is the sort of privacy concern of the current of the right now. Everyone's sort of talking about this, like, man, they have all our data, everything, and everyone's got a profile. They know you do this and that. As an aside, one thing I find funny is you buy something on Amazon, and then like you'll start pushing me more ads of the thing I just bought, and I'm like, "Man, you stupid algorithm! I just bought the thing. I'm not buying another one
it's so
right
dumb.
now." I'm like, "Come on!" Like it just seems so dumb to me. Similarly, because I recently bought a car, I get way more car ads, and I'm like, "Look, what? It's like, did it not feed into the system somewhere that the car's bought? I'm not gonna buy another bloody car."
Yeah, that's a big thing with ads across the board. Amazon also has Alexa, which I'm not sure. I don't think any
Oh
of
my
us
god,
use.
why would anybody use that shit?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I want like a data vacuum cleaner in my house to record all of my goddamn conversations and feed it to this tech company for their purposes.
So I was actually, and this is like again the undercutting of the market. I was at the grocery store, and I do this online grocery order, and so I ordered all this stuff, and I guess I exceeded more than $200 of groceries, which means that they gave you something, and so they gave me an Amazon Echo Dot or something like that. They're just like,
What is
here.
that?
It's like you plug it in and it's Alexa. It's like you can.
Oh
It just
man,
connects her.
get
No, we
that!
haven't.
Don't use that shit.
No,
man.
we have. I haven't. I haven't used it. It's still boxed. But my point is that like they don't like they're literally giving it to me.
Yeah.
Amazon is giving that grocery store tons of like, here, get these in people's homes. Like, I didn't pay for it, I didn't select it, but I might have installed it because I got it for free, right? I might have been like, oh, I'll try this thing, everybody's using it, and like, to be fair, I've never used it. Like, it's supposed to come with, I could say, Alexa, play this song, Alexa, do this or whatever,
God.
and it should help me with all these day-to-day tasks. And maybe if I had it, I'd be like I am with the delivery right now, be like, yeah, it's taking all my data, but it's the convenience is worth it. Maybe.
Man, I don't know. It's funny. This whole thing, obviously, I mean, look, you guys know where I stand on a lot of this stuff, but I'm like, are human beings turning into fucking babies? Like, we can't do anything. I can't go to the store anymore. It's so hard to go outside. Bring it to my house. It's like, I used to know how to put music on, but now it's so hard. Can I ask the computer to do it for me? Like, I mean, God damn it, people. It's like, it's not so hard to just do something for yourself that takes 5 seconds. You need to ask the computer to do it for me. Alexa, tell me the weather. It's like, look at the fucking window, people. Like, Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Sorry. I'm just like, we're entering like convenience of everything is just like ultimate laziness of everybody to be like, I can't do anything anymore. There's got to be a tech
what about
solution
the
for everything.
what about the argument that Amazon's like winning at meeting people's needs, and then other companies are sucking, and that's why, you know what I mean? Like they're getting carried away.
They're doing some stuff well. There's no question about it.
But like
but
Amazon's
look,
providing a lot of good solutions for things, right? Like they're doing something right.
so that's not a bad point, Bo, because like I was watching Stranger Things, not on Amazon Prime, it was on Netflix, and in it, in the latest season, it's set in the 80s, and a mall had just come to the small town, and
Okay.
all the main street stores were feeling the pinch, right?
Okay.
Because the mall exists, and people can go to the mall stores and they can get better deals and they can get whatever, and all their stores are in one place. And then, as we know, like Walmart came along at one point and took, like, they were the big, like, oh look, roll back the prices, we're putting out all the Bays and the Eatons and the whatever, they all went out of business in favor of the Walmarts. And now Amazon is eating into the Walmarts. Like Walmart and Amazon are kind of two sides of the same coin. So I would say yes to your point, that yes, I think Amazon is, like, yeah, Mike is trying to make it like, oh, we're all big babies and stuff like that, but whatever. I'm at work. If I can come home and have everything that I wanted, like I just order it on my phone or whatever, and it's all there when I get back, so I don't have to stop and do all those errands, that's a win for me. Like, so yeah.
I guess I just like when I think of like, I mean, look, all the stuff about this is a new, it's like it's disrupting this old model as was disrupted before through, like, you know, malls and big box centers and all that. This is just the next phase of that, and that's true. That's fine. It's like it is a lot more efficient in a lot of ways. But when I imagine, like, I think, you know, extend this to be like, okay, so say like now the big box centers go away, and it's like what is the end game to be like you never leave your house, you know? It's like to just be in your own little cocoon with all your little tech inputs, and then stuff just arrives at your house. I feel like this is Bo's utopia of like the things you need arrives at your doorstep and you never leave. And I just like, I don't know.
But do you like shopping? Like, do you like going to get all that stuff?
Sometimes
I don't. I don't like shopping. Like, I don't mind going out to the restaurant or the coffee shop or going out for an experience. Like, you know, like. But I don't want to necessarily.
Shopping.
It depends what it is. It depends what it is.
Yeah,
if it's something that I'm excited to get, then yeah, I'm excited for it. Like if I'm shopping for, like, I don't know, new skis or something, I'm like going to the store and looking at the different kinds. And
do you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, like when microphone,
like
I went to the music store and I looked at 10 different mics. I had a cabinet full of mics, and I talked to the guy. I looked at the different models, and that was a pleasure experience for me to be, you know, while I was there, I was also looking at the synthesizers and the drum machines. Like, it's pleasurable to go into a place that has a lot of products that you are like into. A good example is a D&D store. D&D
go home
store,
and buy it on Amazon.
Fandom 2. I love going to Fandom 2 and looking at all the things. And yeah, the better deals are on Amazon. So sometimes you don't end up buying from the brick and mortar spot, but.
And that's called showrooming, right? That's a big thing that they're dealing with, where people go, they scope it out in the store, and then they go home and they buy it on Amazon. And like, I definitely try not to do that. Like, if I'm in the store, I'm like, I'm in it to win it. But I do think, the more I think about it, the more I hate shopping. Like, I really do. I don't like to shop. And what do I do when I shop? So if I go into a store and I'm buying something, I pull out my phone and I say, what is the best one of this thing? So for skis, if I was shopping for skis, I would go on the internet and I would be researching what are the best skis. Right. What are for the type of skiing that I do, the type of skier that I am. I would read reviews. I would go and all that. And if I don't do that at home, I'm doing it on my phone in the store. I've been in Best Buy, like looking at speakers and being like, okay, Jesus, which is the best? Sonos versus Sony, blah, blah, blah. And I'm writing all this stuff in my thing. But like in the end, and then like the Best Buy comes out and says, I'll save you some trouble. The Sonos isn't in stock, so you should just go with Sony, or you can wait until we get the Sonos in stock. But if I was at home, I could just do that research and be like, okay, I want this one, delivery tomorrow, boom, click, fine, done, and then I'm done. The exception to that would be clothes shopping, because again, like sometimes you just don't know until you see it, and
Or
if you're
try
just
it
buying,
on. Make
yeah,
sure.
or try it on or whatever. But don't get me wrong, I hate clothes shopping, and if there was a way that I could possibly like Amazon it and be happy with everything, then I would do that.
Yeah, I mean, like I basically like I don't shop a lot to begin with, so and that includes Amazon. Like it's rare that I don't buy much really, but I don't know. If occasionally I'm in the mood, I'm like I feel like I want to get the thing, I'll go. Like I mean, I have been into baking bread lately, and there's like this fancy kind of like cookware store near here. Yeah, I'll bake you a loaf sometime, Bo. I make some nice sourdough.
All right, I'll hold you to that.
Yeah, and but it's not far, and I walk down on the main street, and I get look, and it's like, oh, because I was like, I wanted a big tub to carry my flour in, because I have like a whole big bunch of flour, and I was like, and they had like all these different kinds. I was like, oh yes, I ended up getting this one giant tub. I mean, I could have gone on Amazon, bought the thing, someone would have. But I'm like, whatever. It was sort of pleasurable to go and not quite know what you want. Like, I mean, there's room for both, and it's also funny. This is sort of it's related, but sort of an aside, because a lot of people pointed this out to me. That Amazon, like, this is not a new idea. Like, mail order catalogs have been around for a long time, and apparently, like in the 50s, 60s, like mail order catalogs were huge because there's a lot of places that didn't have stores, and it's like, so you get your catalog there and you look through it. You could buy houses in the catalog. My wife's uncle, who's recently deceased, he had this house that was bought through a Sears catalog in like 1952 or something like that, and he had it designated like a historic site. There were only 6 of them, but it arrived in kits. Like, you bought the house through a mail order catalog. It's like, do that, Amazon. Actually,
I wouldn't be surprised if you could.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised either. But I mean, all to say, like, that idea is not a new idea. That's an old idea, right? To be like, I want this thing. Here's pictures of it. Here's the price. Send it to my house. Like, that's not new. What is new is the speed and efficiency with which they've done that. And I think that's where they have really leveraged technology in an impressive way, which you got to give props to. And also, as an interesting crafting, you're talking about like Ottawa was kind of like bending over backwards to try to get this, Amazon store, which everybody knew this city was never going to get in 100 years, but they were still like, please, Amazon, will suck your dick if you just come here.
You're satire, Nick.
It's true. It's like we were debasing ourselves to get this stupid, shitty employee here. It's like, who cares? But then what I thought was funny, so I happened to be in the summertime, I was driving with this friend of the family to return some scaffolding out to his barn.
I like how all Mike's stories are like, so I was baking bread, and then I had to take this thing, and then my friend's uncle, who's now deceased, but we have to take scaffolding to his barn.
Yeah, so my friend of the family's Gordon Fraser. Bo, did you ever have him as a biology teacher?
Oh my god, he's still alive?
Yeah, he's let me scaffold.
Okay, hang on. You've added to this legend here. You're baking bread and then dropping scaffolding off to
the bread and the scaffolding.
A high school teacher that we both had over 20 years ago.
He was he's a friend of the family. I knew him since I was a little kid. Gotcha. But anyways, so I just had to go with him, and we're driving out towards that doesn't matter for anyone listening, but out on the highway outside Ottawa. Mm-hmm. And then we passed this giant building that had not been there last time I was out there. And I was like, what the hell is this building? It was huge. And he was like, oh, that's like the Amazon warehouse. And I was like, really? And I had no idea this was happening. It seemed quite outside of town. Like, it was a massive, I'm talking, it was football fields long. And I was very impressed to see this thing. I was like, and I think it went up pretty quick. So that's not their headquarters by any stretch. It's just they need this massive warehouse where land was cheap in a place with good highways. So, but it was crazy to see it. It's just like this huge building that's just going to be filled with boxes and just like pumping out to everyone's houses all over it. But I mean, I guess they have to have these warehousing facilities like for basically any big city that they're feeding, right?
Well, the product has to sit somewhere.
I think some of the horror stories that came out were about like the working conditions in some of those warehouses. Like I was like crazy low wages, no bathroom breaks, and like people pissing in the aisle. Like there's all sorts of it's supposedly better. Like it led to action by the company. Bad press tends to do that, but yeah, like I agree. Getting back to Mike's earlier point about the magazine, the consumer distributing type ordering through magazines and stuff like that not being a new thing. When Amazon was sort of growing and really quickly, I kept asking people like, what does this thing do? Like, why would I get it? And they're like, oh, you can buy stuff online. And it's I would be befuddled by that, because I could just go to walmart.ca or bestbuy.com or chapters indigo whatever and just buy the thing online. Like I was like, that's something that already exists. It's the same with all these food ordering apps like Skip the Dishes or What Just Eat. I'm like, well, I could call for delivery. I've been doing that forever. But it is like this added bit of convenience. Like everything is in one place and the delivery is so quick, so efficient, so reliable. If it's an Amazon certified thing, boom, you're going to get it quickly and you're not going to have to worry about it and you're not going to get ripped off and all that. And all those little conveniences add up to it becoming a giant monolith, right? Like, and that's that. I'm not saying I couldn't live without it. Like I'm not that invested into the ecosystem, but I guarantee there are many people now that are like deep into Amazon. And like when they bought Twitch, because it is funny to me, like my wife, who was the one who wanted to get Amazon Prime, which is where you pay an annual fee for this extra service, we started enjoying the benefit. She got it for the delivery, right? The faster delivery. And it came with like, oh, now you have the streaming service. They have Amazon Prime Video. And then it was like, oh, Twitch, and you get these free, like I go on my Twitch account and I'm like some certified guy. I'm never on Twitch, and I get these games given to me like every month for being a Twitch Prime subscriber. So they're getting you on every avenue of your life. They're trying to find ways to get you. So it just feels like an omnipresent corporation, and that always makes me feel like I need to take a shower.
Well, yeah, I think, but the thing is that you're not thinking about, that you do think about with Amazon, is that Amazon is very visible in what it's offering you and what it's doing, but a lot of organizations that have their fingers in everything are not really visible to you. I think one of the biggest ones is General Electric. They're literally in like every like they have a huge reach in terms of the businesses that they own, right? Like we're talking about scoping out, like Amazon chooses to market all of the things that it gives to you as Amazon for the most part. Now it's not Amazon Twitch, but there's other companies that affect your life in huge ways that you don't think about in the same way that you think of Amazon. So maybe it makes you sick just because it's in your face and there's a narrative around it. But Amazon's not like the only kind of company that is a mega corporation that is involved with products and services, many different ones in your life, even if it's indirectly.
For sure, that is absolutely true. And there's all kinds of like giant corporate middlemen that we've never heard of that are involved in all kinds of shit. Like, absolutely, but. I mean, I feel a bit like when Robin says makes me feel a bit dirty too, because I just feel like if you think about a company, becoming it's so efficient, destroying competition because can't compete with their prices, can't compete with their efficiencies, and then if the end result of that is like, so they're probably the biggest distributor of goods in the world, I would assume now. I don't know how they compare to like Alibaba. I always don't want to forget like China, because that's apparently it's a huge market in itself, and it's the same kind of thing. Sure. But anyways, get so big enough, so you're like, okay, yeah. So like Walmart goes away, all these stores goes away. Everyone's like, why would I go to these stupid stores anymore? I just think stuff comes to my house, and I just think it's sort of almost like the smaller analogy of Crofton said about the video games. Like first they give you the video games, they're all cheap and good, and now you're used to it, and now they charge whatever you want. So I feel like it's like, sure, imagine 50 years we just going to the store is a thing of the past. Great delivery. At some point, they're like, why do we have to start? We can sort of price the way we want. Like any one company that controls everything is what you call a monopoly, and it's like that's generally bad. And governments oftentimes bust up monopolies, and it's like if you say like companies too good at something, it's like yeah they're too good at something, and then once they control everything, it's like well they can do what they want. And then you're just counting on that company's goodwill to offer you good prices. But like at that point, they could do what they want. I'm not saying that that's what's gonna happen, but I'm also like it doesn't smell like doesn't pass the sniff test to me as something that's good for the world to be like, oh, you have one giant company that controls all commerce. Like that does not seem to me like a desirable goal. It's too much control.
It's also and this is one where I sit on both sides of. It's also taking going above and beyond to try to take humans out of the equation, and what I mean by that is like so they're looking at drone delivery, all sorts of stuff. They piloted this grocery store sort of technology where you could they had like these Amazon stores where essentially you walk in and then you take stuff and then you walk out and it just scans you when you go out and then charges to your.
That is a neat idea, but
it supposedly worked, and they're looking into sort of rolling it out. But again, it's like think about the sheer amount of jobs and stuff like that are destroyed by this. Now, again, like we've talked in the past about how many jobs. About the idea of how much do humans need to work. Like we should be trying to get to a point where technology is able to remove a lot of these annoying tasks and stuff that we're not in a like job. We don't create value by the amount of jobs we create. It's about how we take care of our people and all of that sort of stuff. But Amazon is not an altruistic company, and we still exist in this society that we exist in. So right now they're just like they are looking to eliminate people, as are they're part of the big four techs and Google, self-driving cars, like all of that sort of stuff. They're trying to take people out of the equation and put technology in the driver's seat. And I mean, like to a certain extent, I can appreciate that as long as it leads to results for humanity, shall we say? Yeah. But in the short term, it's just a lot of pain with a lot of people being put out of their jobs.
Like, because I agree with you, and I hate the argument because people will always say like, it's like I don't use the self checkout at the grocery store because I want that person to have a job, and I'm always like, look, that's a shit job. Like no one wants to work at the grocery store scanning your food items. It's like I'm glad that person has employment. I would be happier if they had better employment or whatever. So I'm like fighting for shit jobs is not something I'm gonna get behind. So yeah, in theory, yeah, you have to get rid of them through tech means would be great. But as you're alluding to, and I'm just like, this is not going to happen. It's like Jeff Bezos worth like $150 billion. That's how much he's worth. So it's like his technological leverage. It's 150 billion. I have to yell that at this mic because it's like he's one person. That is obscene and disgusting. That's what this is doing. It's not like, oh, great, we're all going to be working 20-hour work weeks because of this new efficiencies. That is not happening. And should it? Could it? Absolutely. But it is not. And it is just making the ultra rich, ultra richer. And I'm and that fucking sucks.
As the opposite of philanthropy, right? Where you're in this world, there's business. And business, playing that game, it's who cares about the rest of the world? Like me and my own, I'm going to win it. I'm going to ace this game. So I'm going to be like Jeff Bezos and have billions of dollars. So even no matter how altruistic or philanthropic you get, you've still put yourself in that number one position, in that priority position, and you haven't really solved it so that your fellow community members, not just you, but your society, your tribesmen and tribeswomen and tribes children don't have to do the 40-hour work week, because the 40-hour work week needs to be fucking fixed. Like that to me, right, is the biggest problem with what's going on here. I don't know if this really pertains to the conversation we're having per se, because they plan on using robots and software and all these solutions so that they don't have to use humans, to Mike's point, but then they're just going to work 40 hours a week somewhere else.
Yeah, we're not taking. We're not. We have no plan to deal with the people who are going to be outed from these crappy jobs. And I mean, this really is a looming crisis, not just from Amazon, but like other things, automation and whatnot. And I'm just like, there is enough money in the world, and if one person has $100 billion, like that is so dumb.
But to your point, Bo, this would be like if you were looking at the entire in all of North America, and you're like, okay, what is the single company that could do the most to change that? If instead of going to Jeff Bezos's personal fortune, if all, let's say, like all this automation, all of this efficiencies got turned into like money, like broken down per capita and given to all these folks, then yes, like it would make a huge deal. It would change everything, right? Just Amazon, just one company doing that would change so much. But yeah, it's obviously like not going to do that out of the goodness of its own heart. The rich are just going to get rich.
Also, business projects are about scope. So we're trying to solve, the scope of our business is to solve it's to provide this service. It's to provide this value that people want. It's not to say, you look at a problem like what we're discussing and no one gets into business to solve societal problems because there's really no profit.
No, but the funny thing is, and we've touched on this twice already, but like, and look what happened. Our city, our dear mayor was, salivating at the mouth to get this company to come here. Like, governments are the ones who are supposed to be like, oh, how can we fix a system so that it benefits people better? But we've eroded that system to the point where it's like governments are like, oh, business, can you please help us? And it's just really unfortunate because it's like no one has these solutions. And I don't know. So yeah, like this whole like one company controlling so much, it's a worrying thing. But I mean, look, yeah, I have Amazon Prime too, and I watch their damn streaming service. There's some good. Mr. Robot's a good show. Check that out.
Yeah, but there's more than just Prime to watch stuff on.
Yeah. Look, I mean, there's lots of them, and it's
and that's another thing is you're throwing like. There is still lots of stuff out there, but it's like you are throwing your kit behind another multinational. Like it's like, okay, I'm not going with Amazon. I'm going to watch that little guy over on Netflix. Like it's
like, what's the difference?
Yeah, exactly. To a certain point, right? Like, so how much is my verdict going to be about like Amazon is a symbol, if you will, for a lot of this, and I want to cast a lot at their feet in a symbolic gesture. But at another point, I mean, if it's not them, it's someone else, right? Like, it's how do they exist as a company, as a service provider, all of that as in isolation. So I'm torn between these two.
It is interesting though, because it is a broad issue, because it's like I think the term's called convergence, like where you have companies that sort of like start reaching out their tendrils into different industries. And I mean, Amazon's a great example of that. I used to think of them a long time ago. It's like they just sold books on the internet, and now it's like sell everything, provide, stream movies, have own grocery stores. You're like, oh, geez, that's crazy, but it's like everyone's doing the same thing. It's like, our big grocery stores now have clothing sections. You're like, what? Clothing in the grocery store? Because they're trying to get into the different thing. They're selling electronics too, because everyone is trying to they're all trying to be the everything store. It's like this slow battle going on. And then because they're all getting in the same game.
I just think that's how businesses go when they're runaway successes, though. Like, I think because no one person can run the whole thing. You hire people, and those people grow the business the only way that they know how, that we learn in this world. Because when Amazon was first a thing, because to me, Amazon, we gave them the public trust. Why did we do that? Because you know what? Reading is important. There was a time before internet and social media, because like illiteracy is like almost, it's virtually unheard of. There are certainly people who have difficulty with reading, but like high rates of illiteracy in a phone world are not a thing. And And when Amazon was becoming a thing, the idea that we could get people books that didn't have to go to a bookstore or anything like that, like, it just, anything to do with reading and selling reading is always just seen as a overall good, even if it was for business. Like, you know, it's not like we're selling beer or pot or meth and you might have opinions about drugs. There's nobody, like, universally nobody except the biggest ignoramuses in the world who would look at that product and say, like, no, this is a virtuous product to sell. And so Amazon, by virtue of conveniently delivering your books, I would look at that as being like, you're encouraging reading. So give them all the money, you know, order books from Amazon. Like, yes, you know, like, yes, put the little brick and mortar bookstores out of business, because overall we believe in this good. And I think they made a lot of money doing it. And then I think that, you know, they hire a lot of other people who see that opportunity, and then it expands into other areas. And because I know I haven't really been paying attention to it, it feels like it happened overnight. Like, one day they're selling books, next day they're selling everything, and they're this massive thing. They have, you know, their fingers and everything. They're this providing large services, and it's just there.
Yeah,
it's just, you snap your fingers and it's just through this other thing, completely not virtuous thing and that's where I have a conflict with Amazon, because I'm like, I like the books part about Amazon. Like, I approve, make them rich. Like, I'm kind of okay with that, because we're making people rich, making them literate. And now we're just selling knickknacks and garbage and bullshit all along with the rest of it. So I don't know if I feel all that great about them anymore.
But you're focusing on what they used to sell and what they started with to what they are now. But like what they are now, as you said, is everything. It's not just knickknacks. It's like, we talked about the cloud computing.
I mean, how much does
and all
books even figure into their sales?
It's probably nothing, barely anything anymore. Like although the Kindle and all of that market, like, is a big market for them still, I'm sure, but like, they're so huge that there's no single bucket that I feel is the be all. The biggest bucket is the web stuff and the AWS, Amazon Web and cloud-based solutions and all of that sort of stuff. That is their single biggest bucket. Nobody talks about it. It's all on the back end. But like, but at the same point, it's like, it's as you say, their tendrils are everywhere. There's nothing. I don't think there's anything you can buy on Amazon, or at least a variant of that thing.
Have you ever had a bad experience with them?
Oh yeah, but part of it was being stupid, because like, I used to be like, okay, when I was an Amazon noob, and people will laugh at this, I just go on Amazon and be like, order thing. Okay, it takes me 2 weeks to get this. What the hell? And it's because I didn't order it. Like, it wasn't an Amazon like certified thing, because Amazon is also like seller. Yeah, it's a marketplace for all these other suppliers and all that. And that's a good segue, Bo, in the sense that there's a lot of these suppliers say they can't afford not to do business with Amazon.
Sure.
But then like, the way it'll work is, then Amazon gets all their data. They see that there's a market there. Then they'll launch something, cut it 40% off, put the other guy out of business, and then have their own thing, right?
But you'd be like, oh, it's a great business model. I mean, like, give them credit.
No, well, that's it. Like, they can't afford not to do business. They can't afford not to be on Amazon, because people are going to search. That's where people are. But then if they're on Amazon,
the authors of their own destruction, because
if they're too successful, they will be.
Or they'll get undercut, like, because they won't be the only ones selling their product. Like, if you want to go sell polyhedral dice on there, like, good luck with that. There are like 500,000 sellers, and they'll undercut you.
Well, it is funny also to do the contrast. So, like, look, I'll give you guys an example recently on Amazon that was a funny me trying to be counter to Amazon thing. So, and as an aside, like, I have had on off again hates with Amazon based on things I've heard. Like, I heard about the shitty work environment. I also heard apparently had a really shitty, like, corporate work environment too. Not just in the warehouse, that it's apparently like you're encouraged to like snitch and rat on your neighbor cubicle buddy if you think they're not pulling their weight. Like, that's encouraged. You should tell your boss this person's a slacker. And I'm like, man, I don't like that stuff. It's like it's Bezos. This is a man who works 100 hours a week. Like, he sets the stage. That's bad for society, I think, those A types. But anyways, but if it's so I get a hate on. I'm like, God, fuck Amazon. I don't want to give them money. And then I heard this
I kind of don't want
podcast.
to give them money too.
But I'll tell you the story about.
Stop
so this is
streaming on Twitch. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, yeah, we should. Fuck Jeff Bezos. He can just cry into his $100 billion without
keep
good, bad,
going.
and bullshit.
Go deeper.
So
you tell
then
Jeff Bezos to suck your dick.
And then so I was like, okay, I heard this podcast of this guy. He was called Douglas Rushkoff, and he wrote this book called Team Human, and it sounded interesting. I was like, I want to read this guy's book. I like him. He's like this guy, really smart guy, interesting book about technology. He coined the term viral back in the 90s. He's like a tech theorist and very interesting guy. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to buy this book. I go on Amazon, like I look at it. This is when I was like, okay, it was like, receive it tomorrow by 5:00. And I was like, oh, pretty reasonable price. I was like, you know what? Fuck Amazon. I don't want to do this. I know there's a local bookstore near me, brick and mortar place, totally independent, kind of like hippie store, sells a lot to universities. It's like, well,
oh no,
like
Michael took too long to talk, and now he's cutting out.
Oh no, sorry.
Am I? No, hang on, give it a minute.
Okay.
His face is frozen in a pretty funny way. Oh, you might be back there. I see you animating again.
Okay, so I'll try to pick up. So I wanted to go to a brick and mortar store.
Yeah, to buy the Jared book.
To buy the book, the Douglas Rushkoff book. I go in. I'm like, maybe they'll have it. This is up their alley. Go in. No, they don't have it. We could order it for you. I was like, okay, yes, order it. I want to support the little guy here.
Amazon.
No, they weren't ordering through Amazon. I could tell by their super antiquated screen they were ordering it through some old distributor. You could tell it was not Amazon because I saw what they're ordering it. They're like, okay, what's your phone number? They're like, we'll call you when it arrives. And I was like, okay. I'm like, how long do you think it'll be? Like, oh, probably about a week. And I was like, all right, whatever. I don't need it today. I go, about a week passes, and I'm starting to be like, oh, I've got nothing to read. I'm like, I want to read this book. And then I stop by like a couple days after the week has passed. I was like, oh, is that book? And they're like, it got back held. It should be in a few days. We'll call you as soon as we can. Weekend passes. Next week, they do call me like, oh, the book is in. I'm like, great, excited. Okay, look, it was going to arrive at my door the next day. I paid, I think, $2 to $3 more. Not that I care about the money. I was happy to see it go to that little business. It took like 2 weeks to get the thing there. And it's like, so I'm not saying use Amazon because of this, but I'm just like, they have done some things very well. Like they've streamlined.
A lot of people will use Amazon for that. Really, they're not like. It's
but like if you're in a store, guys, and like this is a question to both of you. Somebody says like, we can order it for you. Like in the olden days, that's what you did. But now it's like, well, I can do that on Amazon. Like I can go like why would you? What? Like Best Buy is like, yeah, we can order it for you.
It's the same problem movie theaters have.
Our delivery date is next Tuesday, so like it'll be in with the next Tuesday shipment. And I'm like, okay, or I could order it on my phone on Amazon right now and have it tomorrow. I'm like, I don't know why I'm, and in the case of that scenario, Best Buy is a big company as well, so it's what. But in Mike's
Best
scenario,
Buy, you can go to another store too.
Yeah, and in Mike's scenario, it's like a mom and pop shop. But I do think that that there is still like mom and pop shops, going back to my original point of like were usurped by shopping malls and big budget stores that were then replaced by Walmart, that were then replaced by Amazon. So I still think that the mom and pop stores are so far removed from Amazon that like people will still support those. The people that are really hurt by Amazon are the Walmarts and the Best Buys. The Best Buys are getting killed.
Amazon's not doing groceries, so are they?
They own Whole Foods, so they're going that way.
Oh, like, it's just not here. Then I didn't know.
Well, there's a Whole Foods 10 minutes from my house, and it's owned by Amazon.
So wait, you can order Whole Foods on Amazon here in Ottawa?
No, I don't know if it comes to your house, but they own the store, and I
think I'm talking about
Prime
the delivery.
I can get it.
Because I know Walmart's gone deep on being a grocery store. The Walmart near us says a full half a grocery
Yeah, it's
store.
a full grocery store.
And I'm like, that can only mean that they've diversified in order to shield themselves from
But it was
financial loss
yeah,
from
it's,
competitors.
it's the same reason why in Loblaws you can go and buy children's clothing now and a TV. You know, it's like because they also want to get into it.
What's annoying? This is a service peeve of Amazon of mine. Is it there's Amazon.com and Amazon.ca.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
They're not the same. And the thing is like it's not just an American dollar, Canadian dollar thing. Is like Amazon.com will get ridiculous deals. And a lot of the websites I go to will even give me heads up because like they have like deal watch segments. Like I'll go to a video game site and it'll be like, oh, deals of the week for Black Friday are all coming up. They're all Amazon.com related deals. Mm-hmm. And there are some products in particular that I've been waiting to just buy on a deal. And they've come up like 4, 5, 6 times on Amazon.com on sale, but never on Amazon.ca. And I know like probably Amazon.ca is way better and more fulsome than Amazon.mx or some of the other Amazons that there are out there. But part of me is just like, look, we're not idiots. We can see the deals everybody else is getting. It's like you're rubbing it in our face.
For us, it's frustrating in particular is that .com will have product in stock that .ca won't as well, but .com will ship to my address again. I've done it. Like where I was like, this book is out of stock on .ca. I guess I can't order it, but I go to .com and there it is, and it's fine. I can order it, and it might take an extra day, but it's like the same price or virtually the same price or whatever, and I can get it. Like, .ca won't be like, well, we're out of stock, but .com has it, so we'll set you up. It's like,
but you can't buy all things off Amazon.com. Like a lot of I have looked at
because
sometimes I've wanted like weird books, but yeah, I've wanted weird specialty tools and stuff, and I'd be like, oh man, it's on Amazon.com, and it's like it won't ship here.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. But I've only ever ordered books from Amazon.com. Like I'm trying to think of what non-book items I've ever bought, and it's like nothing. Amazon to me is a bookstore. And it annoys me that they do other things.
They do a lot of other things now.
I know. And I'm like, they make tons of money. I'm like, how? I never buy anything from them. Who's giving them money?
A lot of people buying stuff from them.
How much do you buy off Amazon? Both of you combined. How much do we spend this fiscal, this calendar year?
The stuff that I know, like, because, like, obviously the direct
like
money
ballpark,
that goes
$500 did you spend? Like, how much?
Oh, no. Like, because for me it's Jesse. I don't have an Amazon account. It's all done through Jesse's account. Mm-hmm. I would say like pretty much like not everything. We buy like we bought Gwen and Clara's snowsuits from like West End Kids and stuff like that, like around Westboro or but we buy a lot of like the little things on on Amazon. Geez, dude, I would definitely say
1,000 a year, 2,000 a year. I'm like trying to figure out how
at least 1,000.
Yeah,
I think I've spent at least $1,000 directly from our family's money that's gone to the Amazon company this year for sure.
I'm a bit lower. The things I have bought, actually, I bought Pandemic Legacy, which the three of us have been playing. That came through Amazon because I wanted it
from
like
a marketplace seller or from Amazon.
No, I think it came from Amazon. It came like next day, pretty quick through Amazon Prime. And I bought a kid cooperative game that I play with Ivan off there as well. So I've spent probably in the range of $300 to $400 in a year on Amazon. But again, like I will try actively to avoid it depending on my level.
The other reason to avoid it is that they do take a cut. So especially if you're purchasing a product from a small seller, like a board game, for example, could have 1,000 copies printed or 10,000 copies. Amazon takes a cut of sales, and if you buy directly from a publisher, that's one less pile of fingers that are in that purchase. Yeah. I mean, not like there's a lot of examples of that. It's mainly just smaller stuff, but that is one way to circumvent Amazon. Like, they don't need the money.
It's funny because also it's one of these things where it's like, look, Amazon is essentially a slight tweak on stuff that was already there. It's like, did we need Amazon? No, we did not need Amazon. If you want to get a book, you get a book. If you want to get anything you wanted to get, you could get it. It's like, this is a funny thing about businesses and companies doing things like did we need Uber? There was taxis. It's like Uber came in, tweaked the system. It's a little easier, a little cheaper.
I took my first Uber this week, by the way.
Now Uber, yeah, and it's like now Uber's huge, right? And it's the same thing with Amazon, where you're like, is this a need that actually exists? And I'd say no. We were not without books. It wasn't like you were like, where could I get a book? You know, you could go.
We weren't even without delivery.
It was hard it was hard to find those obscure books. Like there was David Mamet books I wanted. They were never at the bookstore.
Like you could go to the library. Sweet. You go to the library and ask the library to buy a random
library
book.
Either. Like,
and if you ask the library to buy something, they will. And then they put it on hold for you. Like, I mean, that exists and it's free. But I mean, all to say is like, look, they've done a good job of finding the edges of smoothing some things that were a little rough. That's what they've done. And it's like, they did not fill a gap that didn't exist at all. They've just made some things smoother.
But they're part of the disruption economy, like Uber and all of these things. They go into these industries that already exist and then they disrupt them. I read an article today about like there's this Jeopardy tournament of champions that's happening where the 3 winningest players in Jeopardy history are being brought together to go head to head. Now, the most recent one of those 3
is it Watson?
What?
The computer program? I thought it was the best.
No, I'm talking about humans playing
Jeopardy.
But
humans are so dumb compared to AI.
Look, don't challenge Crofton too much. He only knows what he read in an article. He otherwise
no. I know Ken Jennings and that. So one of the 3, the most recent one, was famous.
The gambler guy.
For disrupting the game. Like essentially, what he would do is he would go straight to the high value ones. He would hit the daily doubles and he would max out money quick. He played the game not in the traditional way where people go down the board or whatever, and it screwed with everything, and he did really well. And there's a lot of examples of this in many different disciplines. And like the article I read was talking about this couple that essentially worked out the math on this particular lottery in the States, and were always able to sort of make a profit. They figured out how to disrupt, how to play, how to break the game, if you will.
The game.
Exploit it to a certain extent, right? And Amazon and Uber and all that, they see these things, sand down the edges, but disrupt them. Like these are the things that don't work. Like
it's
taxis.
Technically all business. That's what business is.
Yes, no, but I would say there are disruption agents, and then there are creation agents, and sometimes it's the same thing. But like when you create, like take Oculus Rift as a new technology that's being created, like it's something that did not necessarily exist before, right? Like virtual reality, we're creating this thing. I often give Google.
I feel that's different when you're doing R&D and you're prototyping things. You are throwing money away. It's like prospecting for gold. Like you are throwing money away to find the thing that gives you the the oil, the groundswell of money that gives you the exploit, because then you have the technological edge. So
I'm just pointing Mike's point about like,
so
what is this company
was exploiting the game? That's
Mike's point was that these companies, Amazon brings nothing to the table other than smoothing the edges, right? And my point is like Amazon's a game breaker, like this gambler on the Jeopardy. Like they looked at the game and they were like, we can break this. Mm-hmm. We found a bunch of little ways that we can break this to our benefit. Mm-hmm. And it's also obviously beneficial for the consumers. That's why it's successful. But like, I do take Mike's point in the sense that I don't necessarily, it's not a company that is adding a tremendous value to the world in terms of like adding something that didn't exist previously, creating something. You're calling it R&D because I used Oculus as an example, but any sort of like thing that you're bringing into the world that did not exist previously, I think it has a higher value than just polishing the stone.
Yeah, but it doesn't make money. None of those things make money until they're a hit. Like
potentially.
Like that's why they have all these crazy. That's what Cybertruck is today. Like they brought out Cybertruck. It wasn't a hit. They probably won't. They'll make a couple of them, but they're not. That's not a gold vein that they're going to mine. They're going to keep working and find a different gold vein to mine. And that that's. They'll iterate on it. They'll find that sweet spot and exploit it. I think like it's that's just that. I mean, that's part of the business. It's like finding new drugs. You spend money to pay doctors and researchers to come up with new drugs, and then once you get the patent on a new drug, then you know can make billions, because that's how you break the system. Like the capitalist business is all about finding that thing that breaks the system, and that's what gamblers do when they try to find games that they can win consistently and get a free ride on the winnings. It models a lot of behavior in our society, in the world, like the democratic world we live in, the capitalist world we live in. And so, like, if you're saying Amazon has championed this or has done like one of the greatest examples of this, then yes, I think everyone would have to agree with that, because just look at how he's rich, $150 billion.
He's very rich.
As Mike pointed out, you have to say it that way when you describe the amount of money he has.
It's just, but I mean, yeah, just when you see that and their global reach, you're like, well, like, who has Amazon really benefited? Like, has it actually benefited me? It's like, no, yes, no.
Yes.
No, I'd be like, is my life better that a box comes to my door rather than I go to the store? Is my life better because of that? Like, no, it's
marginally.
Neutral. No, it's neutral. Like, honestly, for me, it's if that's really the edge on your life being better, I'd be like, man, you got to do some bigger thinking.
Oh, I think it's you're being too hardcore on what is better. Like,
wow,
like is it? Like,
what I'm saying is it's splitting hairs.
My time is valuable.
No.
So. Yeah, it is. I don't want to spend my time in stores. It's more valuable.
So you spend your time on the couch for 2 hours shopping.
Doesn't matter if that's how I choose to spend it.
Well, maybe you choose to spend it in the store, and maybe it's not. Maybe like what he's saying. Mike is just saying that you look at that as a wide expanse of value. Mike's position is that it isn't.
There's nothing more valuable than my time.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But like what we were just saying before, again,
spending
like
2 hours shopping in the store, spending 2 hours on a phone shopping for stuff is a net equivalent. Like there's no gain there to that.
And just to pull this back around to this other thread we were on before, it's like, why is your time valuable? Because you work 40 hours a week at a job, and you probably don't need to work 40 hours a week. If Jeff Bezos can have $150 billion in his own personal chest, there's enough money for everyone to work.
150 billion.
150 billion.
So, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. So yeah, your time's valuable. So it's like I'm always one of these times like the whole system is messed up. Where it's like yeah, you can't afford to go to the store anymore. It's like your time's too precious because you work 40 hours a week to have just enough money to pay for all your shit to just continue living, and you got to feed Amazon because they save you 20 minutes out at the store, and you want that minute because your life is jam packed with work, and you're like this whole system. So it's like it's not contributing really towards making the world a better place. It's just skimming off the top for Jeff Bezos to build this crazy moon base where he can
because
live.
We'd be going so hard
on
Jeff Bezos. I had to Google his net worth just to be sure. We owe Jeff Bezos an apology. He's practically destitute. He only has $108 billion.
Poor fella.
So like we're gonna have to change our reaction.
I feel like a whore now because I made myself look all like surprised about 150 billion, and then it's just 108.
108 billion.
No, it's more like 108 billion. Make some money, motherfucker. Like that's
Bill Gates is back on top right now.
Yeah. How much is he? How much is he? No, he was. I heard that actually. That's going around.
How can he be back on top? He doesn't work anymore. He just gives his money away.
He owns fucking Windows, the thing that's everywhere more than Amazon. Like literally,
Does he still own it though? I thought he was out for that. I guess he has tons of shares.
Well, sure. Like the thing about this worth is that it's not liquid cash. It's like their companies are in flux. Like their actual value changes from day to day depending on whatever their share value is.
At least Bill Gates gives his money away to worthwhile causes. Like, what has Bezos done?
He's a philanthropist, but
Bezos also they all are to a certain extent.
If you have $100 billion, how could you not be? What are you going to do with the money? It's so dumb.
I mean,
he owns the Washington Post.
There is something to be said about, like, as much as I think Elon and Jeff are, it's cool that they want to do space and stuff. Richard Branson. I mean, I was talking to somebody today about like Jimmy Carter and Habitat for Humanity and stuff, and like some of the most biggest important things that we've done involves food, it involves shelter for people, it involves improving the quality of lives here on Earth, and like these people have way more celebrity, including their richness and including their vision, than real people that are trying to solve large scale problems. And Bill Gates definitely fits that bill way more than any of these like
Oh yeah, he's trying to get rid of like
dumbasses,
malaria and polio. Like he's
Yeah.
actually working on interesting, and Jimmy Carter was trying to get rid of like what was it, hookworm, some random parasite, but it's like actually affecting a lot of
But
people's lives.
Jimmy Carter, I give it to, but Bill Gates still has a net worth the same as Jeff Bezos. So he is
is,
clearly not giving away all his money.
No, but I mean, look into his foundation because they give away billions.
Oh, I'm sure they do. But like, I could give away $100. It's probably not as much as $1 billion for friggin' Bill Gates.
I don't
you
know.
shouldn't go donate to charity because no one's going to care about the amount.
No, I'm just saying that he's still part of the problem. He has got billions upon billions of dollars that he is sitting on.
Yes, but he's also committed. Bill Gates has, and apparently he's tried to reach out. And him and who's the other guy? Who's the guy that owns Buffett? He's
Warren
also
Buffett?
a good. Yeah, Warren Buffett, where they've made some kind of commitment where their aim is to give away 90% of their fortunes before they die to charities. And I'm like, and if you want 100 billion, 90%, like that's a lot. Give them credit if they're going to do that, if they're going to follow through.
Yeah.
I always bring this back to Steve Jobs, the like biggest asshole. Everyone loves him. He did not give a fucking penny to no one. He was like, "It's my money. I give you the iPhone. I own you all." It's like,
and now he's dead. Okay, let's do verdicts.
Let's do verdicts.
Nice.
Best tech billionaire.
Nice
Go.
fucking seg, dude. Here it comes.
Can I go first?
Order in the cart. All right. Crofton wants to go first. I guess that you can.
He can.
Yeah, okay.
I'm doing outros. I'll go second.
It depends. Did you order express verdict?
Yeah. Do you have the account for express verdict?
Yeah.
Or do you have
Do you
to
have
wait?
do you have verdict prime?
Verdict Prime. God, it's so annoying. So yeah, all right. Here, let me get going with this. This was a tough one. So I was churning milk for my cheese making with my late uncle Dave, who happens to be a lawyer. None of this has anything to do with my verdict, but I just wanted to preface open with that so people can relate to me. But yeah, the thing about Amazon is that at the beginning, I thought this, and at the end, I still think this, and it's still something I struggle with. It does, as a company, it is a disruptor. It's making my life better and easier in many, many different little ways. Meanwhile, it is engaging in business practices that, while there isn't like a smoking blood diamonds type thing that I can point to, makes me feel not great. And it's making some people obscenely rich. And while they were pushing the pace with regards to technology and perhaps automation, it's not seeing a trickle-down effect necessarily. It is a huge, huge company that's making tons of money and is a huge part of the capitalist infrastructure. If I was someone that routinely railed against capitalism on this podcast, my verdict would be pretty clear on this one. But I am not that person. I am somebody that generally is like, how does this work out for me and all of that sort of stuff? And how does it work out for society as a whole? Amazon is just there where I can say that I'm not ready to slam them and to say that they are fully bad. I would be really hypocritical to say that, in the sense of like I've already said how much that I use them. If I firmly believed that they were really bad, I would choose not to use them because they're not so omnipresent that I couldn't do that, right? Like there are other alternatives. So because of that, I'm going to fall in the category that is a bit of the murky middle here and say that Amazon is bullshit.
All right.
Bullshit from Crofton. And thank you for using much of your verdict to slam me in several ways. I much appreciate it.
Hey, you took it personally. I was just telling an anecdote.
Oh, yes, I see. All right. So let me see. What do I think about? As someone who does routinely rail against capitalism and all its trappings, yeah, I'm not a big fan of Amazon. I use it. I feel like there's this ongoing thing we did a whole episode on hypocrisy. People love to like, it's like, oh, you used Amazon once and you don't like it, you fucking hypocrite. So yeah, I've used Amazon and I don't like it, but it's convenient. There's a lot of things like that in the world, things that I don't like that I use. Like, I mean, I don't like how Google tracks all my data. It's a very useful search engine. I do use it sometimes. I'm not going to like go to the library and look at encyclopedias when I want to find information. So it's like, again, I just come back to the whole, is it a necessary thing? I really just think that there are all these areas where people can find these little edges to essentially just personally enrich themselves. Like, credit to Bezos. He's taken a bunch of stuff, pulled it together, found some efficiencies, and made himself extremely wealthy to the benefit of him. And it's like, and to the slight benefit of those people who everything is an inconvenience in their lives. Oh, the store, it's so hard to get out of the house. Oh, my life is so miserable to get this consumer product that I want with my money, and I have to walk there. What an inconvenience. I mean, I am not like that in the sense that I like doing stuff that takes longer. I mean, I make bread from scratch. It is easier to go to the store and buy bread, but I make it because it's hard, right? Like, there's you get value out of stuff like this in life. It's not all about like what is the most convenient thing. Is that like your desire in life to like sit on a couch with like a bedpan you piss into that someone cleans out for you and your food is fed into your mouth? That is the best possible universe of ultimate convenience. I'm like, no, it's not. And I just think Amazon, all they've done is smooth the edges, made a few things more convenient, and Jeff Bezos fucking rich. So I say, fuck Amazon. It's bad. Don't use it. Go to the bookstore that takes 2 weeks to give you the goddamn book from a surly activist bookseller.
Wow.
And give them some money, because I think it's like it's going to do better for your actual local community. And then Jeff Bezos, he has enough money already. He doesn't need.
What if you live in the country though? Like, we're talking about like we're in the city and we can walk to our bookstore or whatever. Like,
whatever. You choose to live in the boonies.
Well done. All right.
Yeah. That's a problem you have in the boonies, I think, for a lot of things, not just Amazon.
Yeah, I mean, like if you go to live in the middle of nowhere, you know you're gonna have some issues like that. But whatever.
Yeah, especially if you go live on an island, then you got to get on a boat, then you got to drive. You know, some people choose that life and like it.
Yeah. Bo, what's your verdict on this?
Geez, I don't know, man. I'm sort of ambivalent to Amazon. Now, I thought Amazon was cool back when they sold books and made literacy more possible. Like a lot of things that was great about the internet that we're very bullish on literacy. I want people to read. People don't read, they're dumb, and then when they're dumb, you know, they like, I think on average, even if you don't agree with people's opinions, people are at least being exposed to more ideas and more opportunities for literature, and that's great. And Amazon has that, is a part of that, this movement, this recent history, and I can't take it away from them. And so I like that aspect of them. I don't like the supervillain aspect, not only of Jeff Bezos, but, you know, whoever else ends up in that spot. He's not going to be there forever, right? He's like a CEO. He'll move on to some other project in his lifetime, I'm sure. And he won't be doing the Amazon thing. It'll be some other fool that's, you know, there potentially. So I don't know, but like, I kind of just like, Mike's very impassioned about hating this guy, but I'm like, there are a lot of billionaires. Like, let's throw them all in the same. Let's blast them all with the same laser. You know, let's blast these. Like, I don't know why we're
them too.
See, the thing is, we picked Amazon.
The topic is Amazon today.
Well, that's what I'm saying to you, is that we picked the topic of Amazon. Crofton brought it to us, but really, we're talking about more than just Amazon. It's just, because it's only Amazon, you're focusing your opinions on a lot of things on Amazon, but it's true of like a lot of other companies as well. If we
if the topic was billionaires, it'd be like, fuck billionaires.
Exactly. So like, I'm
Bill Gates.
The reason I bring that up is like, I'm not trying to evaluate it through that lens. I'm trying to evaluate through, do I like the service of the Amazon? And I do. Like, I don't use it ever. But at the same time, I'm like, there's very little I hear that they do that doesn't sound like cool or good to me. That, you know, the problems you bring up, Mike, are problems not just of Amazon. So I can't just be like, well, Amazon's bad because it's because they're the only ones doing this shit. So I'm sorry, Mike. I still love you. And
You don't have to
I'm
apologize.
gonna say Amazon's good.
Classic Bo answer. We all stayed in our lane.
But for the record, that
We
doesn't-
totally stated our lanes there. That was total.
But for the record, like sometimes when I say good, I'm like I vehemently disagree with you guys, and we're arguing. Is I feel like I agree with everything both of you said, like all episode about your thoughts and impressions about it. But like I can think of companies that excite me less, that do less for me than Amazon, that are also guilty of the same things that Mike's accused him of all the show. So I'm like, on a scale, I'm like, Amazon's all right with me. Like, let's talk about Walmart next episode, or
Yeah, I'm
whoever
not
else. So, yeah.
on Walmart either.
So I'm good.
So recognizing the show is going long, I do want to ask Bo. I know that he said that we had mail.
We have mail. Let's read the mail.
Read the mail.
All right. Yeah, thanks for remembering. It's the same sound because it's the mailbag, but we're getting a letter dropped off for us to read. And I thought it was important. I actually wanted to read this last week, but this is a longtime listener of he's been in my Twitch streams. I know he's been around when we did Here's a Storm on Core, and now he's listening to Good, Bad, or Bullshit. It's a message from Kel Norum. So Kel Norum says, hey, it's Kel Norum. Can't decide if I should write one really long email or 20 short ones. Write 20 short ones so we have content for the next 20 episodes. It's fine. And if you want to write them from separate email accounts and use different names in order to give us the illusion that there are a lot of people writing in, by all means do that. For podcastability, making up words and shit, I'll guess short ones. Oh, he guessed the right thing. Cool. Crofton, Mike, did you have an opinion on that?
Is this the letter you read?
Yeah.
I don't understand. What's
All
the
right.
question?
Anyways, whatever. I'm gonna keep going on. They're confused. Outrage culture. Outrage culture is like most things, good until it went bad. The worst part about it, I believe, is the numbing effect it has had. A rapper I quite enjoy named Tom McDonald. What? I don't know Tom McDonald. Said it best in his song, Politically Incorrect. You march a lot but never go the distance. Yelling way too loud till no one listens. Okay, all right. The Me Too movement accomplished some great things and would have continued to do so, but outrage culture got a hold of it and burned everyone out. So now it's bad. GG, my friends, and keep up the good work. So Kel Norum says that outrage culture is a bad thing, and that's what he wanted to contribute. So there's no real questions, but if you have comments.
No, but that's
Well,
awesome. When somebody has their own verdict on something we've discussed and wants to spell it out, I'm always all ears. Thanks for the email.
Most people are usually too shy. Even like when they write in and talk to us or we talk to them, they never want to actually give a verdict like we do. And it makes me feel like we're like the only three assholes in the universe that want to like engage in this kind of discussion. We're like, suck my dick, Jeff Bezos. Like
Everyone wants to say that to Jeff Bezos.
I think we might be the only three. I've really never heard anyone say that, but like
no one else wants to get banned from Twitch, I guess, for it.
It's like he's in his moon base and his assistant comes in and he's like, sir, there's a stream on Twitch and one of the hosts on there said, suck my dick, Jeff Bezos.
and then Jeff Bezos is about to hit the ban button. He's like, but he also thought you were worth 150 billion instead of only 108 billion. He's like, I like the cut of this guy's jib after all. I think I'm richer than I am. Come on.
150 billion.
Wait.
I have a Mars base and not this scrawny moon base.
They just corrected your net worth. They've got it back down to 108. I'll shut him down now. Shut him down.
Well, thank you, Kel Norum. Is that what it goes by?
Yeah, Kel Norum.
Write the letter, much appreciated. And anyone else there listening, if you would like to get in touch with us and write us a letter, tell us your verdicts. We would much appreciate that, and we'd like to read it on the air. So please get in touch with us if you'd like to. You can go to our website, goodbadbull.com, and there you can find all the ways to reach us. Email, goodbadbull@gmail.com. There's the Twitter, @goodbadbull. There is apparently still Facebook, though I hate it, as you would know by listening to me. You can like us there. And then, of course, if you haven't subscribed to the show, please do so. Google Play, iTunes, Spotify. And we still do have a Patreon account. And many thanks to our patrons who keep the show going. We really appreciate the support. That's patreon.com/goodbadbull. And Bo, people want to follow what you're up to. Where do they go? What do they do?
They can follow me on a social media site called Twitter, whose CEO I actually kind of dig his vibe. Have you ever listened to interviews with Jack Dorsey? I kind of like that guy. Anyways, he's a weirdo, but I like his vibe. Anyways, twitter.com/Bo Schwartz. And if you want to find out everything I'm doing, you can go to my website, BoSchwartz.com.
Website or your BBC page.
Brought to you by Amazon Cloud
My
Services.
BBC page?
No. What were those things called back when the internet?
GeoCities?
No, I'm talking like 1990.
Hey, I showed Scott Wiedezine. Do you remember Wiedezine?
Oh yeah, gosh, do I?
I still have that on my computer. Yeah.
Good Lord, delete
You should
that.
come over and look at that. There's a picture of me with my fake rapper name Mad Dignified on there. It's pretty
Mad
awesome.
Dignified? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
That's a pretty good rapper name.
Yo, I'm Mad Dignified, yo.
When's your EP gonna drop already?
It's no Tom McDonald, but it's pretty good.
Tom McDonald. Gangster
We don't mean to
rap-
laugh, Kel Norm, but it's just like when you're like my favorite rapper, you expect to hear like Lil Yeezy or like Lil Uzi Vert or XXX Tentacion or like Master
Tom
P or like fucking Flava Flav, and you're like Tom McDonald, and it's just like,
Tom
what?
McDonald.
It's like
That
I'm
reminds me of
picturing an
my
Irish guy like down the road going like Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. I'm a rapper, like yeah.
It's gonna be that'll be the new thing in a rapper. Like the new biggest hip hop style would be like Steve Smith, best hip hop. All right, Crofton. People want to follow you. Where do they do?
They can follow me at Crofton Steers on Twitter, and I also do another podcast with my friend Ryan Murphy that is Dungeons and Diapers. If you want to hear more of my thoughts on fatherhood, that's a good place to go. TGIstudios.com/dad.
Just want to say it's a good show. I've listened.
Oh, thank you.
Good. And if you want to find me, you can find me down at the local brick and mortar bookstore complaining about how long it takes for my goddamn book to arrive. And that's about it. So yeah, thanks for listening.
Is that what
Thanks,
you say
everybody.
Is that what you say at the bookstore? Like you're just like, listen, I came to your bookstore to order a book from you. I went online and told Jeff Bezos he could suck my dick.
What taking so
If I'd have known it'd take this long, I wouldn't have told him to suck my dick, because now I can't order anything off Amazon. But seriously, it's taking too long.
Oh God, my bread is burning. I gotta get back.
And then he gets on, he's like, who knocked the fucking scaffolding off my truck? And then he's like, Mr. Frazier's gonna be pissed.
But then the contrast would be to me, Crofton is sitting at home on his couch, and he's like, my bedpan's filled again. I wish someone would empty it for me. And then Jeff Bezos arrives and takes it away. You're welcome.
Sorry, we're laughing with you, Michael. I hope you don't feel bad.
Yeah.
It was just, I think the scaffolding.
I'm laughing
killed us.
at you.
But honestly,
I know you are, Crofton. Don't worry.
But you know what I find is the funnest thing to do though is to say, "Hey, Jeff Bezos, suck my dick." Like I think those are the funniest words in the English language right now. I just want to say that over and over again.
It is a bit crude now that I've heard it so many times. He is a human being deserving of love and respect like everyone else. I mean, a super villainy aside, I guess.
Yeah,
All right.
so.
Bo, end the show.
Yeah, in this show.
In the show.